Welcome to this Extender developer training. My name's Anne from Orchid Systems. Extender allows you to apply cost-effective customizations to Sage 300. The customizations are done using Python and are deployed in a scripted manner. Therefore, there's no need to recompile versions and product updates between product update upgrades or version upgrades. And because these scripts are written in Python, you can take advantage of the thousands of open source libraries available for Python. Extender comes in 4 editions. The Runtime Edition, which is used by third-party developers for their own ISV customizations. Configurator Edition, which allows you to configure alerts and emails. To send an email when something changes, you can create a note when something changes, you can log the change, and you can call an external program. The next edition up is Customizer, which allows you to apply Python scripts to the views or to the screens. So you can customize the underlying Sage 300 view logic, and you can customize the Sage 300 OCXs. It supports all the core modules and any third-party module developed in the SDK. And the last edition is the Developer Edition, which includes all of the above, but also allows you to create and maintain your own Sage 300 business logic views and the associated table with the view. It maintains the Sage 300 database dictionary, and your tables will now dump and load and be available for any of the standard reporting utilities. And this training video is going to concentrate on features in Customizer Edition and Developer Edition. In this training, we're going to activate Extender and see the effect that has on your CS app entry and your roto files. Then we're going to work with scripts. We're going to create a script, show you how to import a script, attach a script to the view, and check the CS app entries and roto files. We're also going to attach a script to screens and see how to deploy scripts. And as part of our exercises, we're going to create a table and see how to import a table definition, how to amend a table and check the CS app entry and the roto files, and also how to use your own custom table or view in your own code. And we're going to see how to deploy tables too. And finally, we're going to have a look at modules. How to create a module, how to import a module, what the components of a module are, and how to deploy a module. When you first activate on a site, in the first company that you activate, Extender creates an entry in the CS app table for the current company, but it also creates an entry in the roto.dat for Extender and makes a copy of the roto.dat in the shared data directory. The roto.dat file keeps track of all the subclass entries that Extender has created. And because some people install the Sage 300 programs on each and every workstation, this file will be updated in your own programs directory. And if everyone's using the same shared programs directory, then they will access this file from your shared programs VIXXA directory. But if you have Sage 300 installed on each and every workstation, then Extender needs to copy this amended roto.dat from the programs directory to all the other programs directory. Accordingly, it puts a copy of it as well in the shared data directory. And when any of your subclasses have changed, you should reopen your Sage desktop to refresh the available views. And in this company database, we can see that previously we had no VI entry, but now when we refresh this, we can see the VI entry in the CS app table of the company database that we're working in. If I had Extender activated in any of the other companies on this particular site, and if I had created subclass views in those companies, for example, I had attached a script to the AR customer, then I would end up with a subclass entry under AR. So even though I have not yet attached a script to AR in this company, because you're using a shared programs directory and because another company has a subclass view, you would see a subclass view under AR for VI. But because this is the first company that I'm activating in and I have no customizations already, then all I see is the VI entry in my CS app table. We have seen after activating that the VI entry is created in the CS app table of the current company. Roto.dat was updated in the programs directory VIXXA, and the roto.dat and group.dat was copied to the shared data VIXXA directory. The first exercise we're going to do is validate the state field. And initially we're going to validate the state field on the AR customer. We're going to download the script from the website and we're going to attach it to the AR customer view. We're going to have a look at the code and set the parameters that we need to set and then test this particular script. To download any of our sample scripts, you go to www.orchid.systems, you log in, click on Resources or Product Downloads, then select Extender Scripts from the menu. Then you will see all the Extender scripts and they're grouped by module. The one that we want to look at is actually in the Accounts Receivable grouping, so select Accounts Receivable and then download the script Validate Customer State Field. This is the file that I downloaded from the website. And when I unzip that, you'll see you've got a PDF which gives you the instructions on how to use the associated script and the script itself. So we're going to import the validate field PY, and the instructions on how to use this PY is set up in this document. We're going to attach it to the AR24 view, and we're going to set the parameters. Parameter 1 is the field that we want to validate, and parameter 2 is the values that we want to validate it against. To import a script, you go to the scripts icon and click Upload. Browse to find your script and import it. So now I can go ahead and edit the script. If I'm doing customizations to the script, while people are using the system, I would check out the script. Then in my checked out version, I can edit and test that particular script. And it's only when I check it back in does everyone start using my amended version of the script. So you'll notice when I edit it, it automatically checks it out. When you edit a script, it will open the script with the editor that you have associated with that script. In my case, Notepad++. And to change your association or make an association, right-hand mouse button and select your editor. Looking at the Validate PY code, Notepad++ colors comments in green, and anything prefixed by a hash is a comment. And we typically comment the script in the first 4 lines because you see that comment when you're on the script screen. So it's easy to see what that particular script does. Extender provides the ACPAC-PY library. This is a Python library which has all the view calls and the OCX script calls that you can make in Python. So the first thing you must do is import the acpac.py. And you can see on open, on before insert, on before update, these are all functions in the acpac.py. And for documentation on the acpac.py, you can browse to your Sage directory, in the extender directory, which is VI, in the doc directory, you will find information on all the view calls and OCX calls and scripts that are in the acpac.py. Double click on any one and you will get the index down the left hand side. So for example, if we want to see what goes on in modules or what UI commands we can use, etc. So first we import the ACPAC PY. And then on the script opening, we define ourselves two global variables, the field description and the allowed variable. And we set the field description to the field name in the first parameter. So when I attach this script to a view, I've got 4 parameters that I can work with. And this script is expecting the first parameter to be the field name that we're going to validate. The allowed list is set to parameter 2 plus parameter 3 plus parameter 4, separated by commas. So I can put all the values separated by commas in parameter 2, 3, and 4 that it's going to validate against. And because our state field is normally in uppercase, we're just going to convert the allowed list to uppercase so our comparison works. And then on before inserting a record into Sage 300 or before updating a record in Sage 300, it's going to call our subroutine validate. And in the validate, we're going to check that whatever's entered in the state field exists in the allowed list. So the first thing is our variable v, which we've set to none. If v is none, then we're going to set v equal to the value that is in the field in parameter 1, i.e. the value that's in our state field. If this field is blank, and we've allowed blank in our parameter list, then that's fine, we can continue. Otherwise, if the field is not blank, we're going to check if the upper value is in our allowed list. If it is, continue. Otherwise, give an error message. So we're giving this error message either if the field is blank and we don't allow blanks, or if what they've typed in does not exist in our allowed list. And return 1 is a hard error to stop the update or the insert happening. So now what we need to do, I'm just going to undo that checkout because we didn't do any changes. Now what we need to do is attach that script to our view. So clicking on this All Views Finder, we can find our customer view. And the customer view is AR24. And we can use this field name where we normally attach our events. We can use this to check for our field value that we want to put in our parameter. So if I know it starts with code, and I find that the field for the state or province is code STTE. So here we can attach our script to the AR24 view. If I hadn't already loaded it into my script screen, I could click function key F6 and load up the PY file. So here I could load up the validate field from the disk, and what it would do is load it into the script screen and attach it to the view. But as I've already loaded it through the script screen, I can just click on the Finder and select my validate field. But I must set parameter 1 equal to my state field, and I must set parameter 2, 3, and 4 if my list of states is longer than just what can fit in my parameter, which is 250 characters long. So I would put my states in here. If I allow blank, I must put it like this. But if I don't allow blank, I can leave that off and just put my list of state codes. So I'm going to use the Australian state codes, and I'm not going to allow blank. So when I add the script, you may have noticed that my views were reloaded. So what Extender has done is forced the subclass views to be reloaded. Or if you're on an earlier product update than what I'm currently running, then you would have been prompted to restart the desktop. because it's only at the time of opening the company that it reads the views that are available. And we've just created a new subclass view for AR2400 to execute the script. So if we look at our VIXXA directory, we've now got a roto ARVI file, and this goes into our programs directory. And to be sure, for anyone who's perhaps got their own copy of the VI files installed, it's made a copy of the roto.dat and this new ARVI in the shared data. So if somebody else logs on to their own machine, connects to the company, the first thing it'll do is copy an updated roto.dat, group.dat if we've made any changes to the menu structure, and any subclass views, in this case ARVI. And the subclass entry is created in the CS app table for Extender on the AR module. So to be sure, I could reopen this company. And you sometimes get that message after installing a product update. You sometimes get that message straight away, in which case you must reopen, otherwise you're not getting the latest roto.dat and group.dat. So if I go now to my AR customers to test that, and if I remove my state and save, I get the error message that blank is not a valid value for my state or province. And if I type in anything, that's going to be validated. But if I type in a valid list, it's now validating against that particular list in the parameter 1, and now that record has saved. And if we want to do the same validation, for example, on our employee record, we could go back to our view events and scripts, find our employee view, and attach the same script to this view. But now we need to know for parameter 1 what is the state field on the employee. So we can use this, or we can use the object model, or in the view inquiries we can use the view info, and the field is just called state. But this time I'm going to allow blank. So you saw that my desktop was reopened in the background, so I don't need to do that, but you could if you want to be sure. And Extender has created rotocp.vi in the programs directory and made a copy of it in the shared data VIXXA directory for other workstations if the programs are installed on other workstations. And the Extender payroll subclass entry has been inserted in CS apps. And now if I go to my employee, so I'm getting a warning message because we've got an active payroll. And if I amend the state to an invalid value, so there's no put on the state itself, but when we go to save it, we're getting that error message. But it will allow blank. And will allow a valid value. We have seen when we attached the script that we imported to AR24, it created the roto.arvi.dat in the programs directory and copied the same file to the shared data directory in case any other workstations on this particular site have their own copy of the programs directory. And when we attached the same script to CP14, it created the rotocp.vi.dat in the programs directory and copied this file to the shared data VIXXA directory. and we had to configure the state in parameter 1 and the valid values in parameter 2, 3, and 4. And we saw that the code was written such that blank allows blank values, without blank you do not allow blank values, and it's a comma-separated list of valid values. The second exercise we're going to do is extending on the AR customer state validation. But this time, instead of validating that the state is one of the values in the parameter, we're going to create a custom table and store our states in that. And then using a view script, we're going to validate what they type in against our state table. So first of all, we're going to create a custom table, define the keys of the table, enter some data, then we're going to amend that table and enter some more data. And we'll have a look at the SQL database to see when the table was created and amended. And then we're going to write a new or different validate state script, which is going to read what they type in the view and then validate that against the entries in the custom table. In Extender Setup Custom Tables, we can go ahead and create our own custom table. All we need to do is give it the name, give it the fields, define the key, and click Save. And if we do that, we are able to export and import the table definition between companies and between sites. But in Extender, we also have modules, which is a way of grouping together different components of your customization. So grouping together your table and your script and your email message, so you can export and import in one click. So although I can go ahead and just create my table now, the first thing I want to do is create a module and associate it with my table. And then when I create my script, I'm going to associate it with the module as well. So when I come to deployment, I can do it at one click. So to create a module, you go to the module screen and you insert a record in this table. So the critical thing about your module is the module ID. And you need to prefix all your components of the module with this same module ID. And as there's no finder on this, it's best to copy and paste it whenever you need it. So the company name and description is for you to keep track of what your module does. Date, website, and version is all for your own reference. The only important thing or thing that's needed by Extender is this module ID. ORCID state valid is what I've called it. You can have as many components to your module name as you want, but we recommend that you have your company name and then the module description or the module name, and then you will create all your scripts and tables within that. So now I can go ahead and create my custom table. And the convention with modules is that the first part of the table name should be your module name if associated with that. And then you give your table name, and I want VI state. Sage 300 does have a limitation of 8 characters for the table name, and we recommend that you use a 2-letter code so you can easily identify your own custom tables. I'm using VI for Extender, and you shouldn't use the 2-letter codes that are used by the core modules or the third parties. This is the table description. You can specify your own view ID, but it's better to leave that blank and let Extender assign the next free view ID up. These start at VI 700 and go up by 1 each time a new view is created or table and associated view is created in Extender. And you can use the comments for your own versioning or comments on the table. And the table name, as you can see, defaults to the last part of your module/table name. And here we define our fields. So my first field is going to be code state, and it's text. And I should keep this length consistent with Sage 300. If you go to Extender Inquiries View Info and have a look at the state field on any of the views where it's used, for example, ARCUS, we can see that this state is 30 long. And typically Sage uses 60 for the descriptions. But you can go up to 255, which is the maximum string length. If we want to put a mask here, we can. And our second field is the state name, also a text field, field length 60. And once you've keyed in your fields, you need to specify at least one key, the primary key for this table. So our key number 1 is going to be the code, and we go ahead and add that table. And at this point, the table is being added to your database, as well as the new view for your VI0700 is being inserted into the roto.dat. So you may have noticed the company being refreshed, but to be sure, you can close this company and reopen it in order to refresh your views. The roto.dat has just been updated now, and this updated roto.dat has been copied through to the Share Data Programs Directory for Extender. And in the company database, we're currently signed into SAM Ltd. The VI state table has been created with the columns that we created, the state and the state name, and you always get, as per all the SDK tables, an audit date and time, audit user, and the audit org, the company that this table belongs to. And back in our tables, we can now go and open the table editor and add some records. So our state code, we can add, and our records have been added. We can also use the custom table editor, and here you get presented with a list of all your custom tables, and you can work from this screen as well. And in admin services, security groups for Extender, you have got special security groups to give end users the ability to not access the setup screens, but still have the ability to edit or just view custom table records. And at the same time of adding this table to the SQL database, Extender has also added this table into the Sage 300 data dictionary that is used by Crystal Reporting, so that when you do a Crystal report on this particular table and you run it in a different company, the Sage report object knows how to switch the database name for these tables. If I was to go ahead now and amend this table, for example, if I was to add a comment, maybe 255 characters long, the Sage 300 SDK, the way you work with tables if you change them is you have to dump out all the data, add the column, and then reload the data. And Extender has done that for you in the background. So now when we go to our table editor, we will have an additional field that we can fill in. And after adding the comment to the table, if we go back to our state table, we can see the comment field has now been added. The next part of this module is to have a script that will run on the AR24 customer view and validate what is entered into the state view field against our table. So I'm going to upload the script, and as you can see, we have prefixed the script name by our module ID, and that's all we need to do to associate this script with this module. So orchid.statevalid. And our script name is validate state codes. So when we open this one, import this one, we get the module ID and then the state codes, the name of the module. And if we go ahead and edit the script, looking at the code, the first thing we do is import the acpac.py to load the Extender Python library and initialize our global variable for the VI state view. And then in the onOpen, we return continue. If we return 0, it will disable the macro. If you return anything else, it will prevent the view from loading. And then in the onBefore insert and onBefore update, we call the validate state field. We can also add RV Spy trace calls if we do want to interact with the RV Spy. And in the onBefore put event, again, an RV Spy trace call to show where we are, and we call our validate state field, but this time we pass in the view object. In the validate state field function, if E is none, then we know we came from the onBefore update or onBefore insert. Whereas if E has a value, we know we've come from the put. And so we know where to retrieve the value to validate against. Declare a variable for our view. If the view is none, then we go and open the view. And normally in Sage 300, you open the views using the view ID. But with Extender, in particular if you're using modules, you open the view using the module name and the table name. And this facilitates not needing to have to know what the view ID is, because it might be different in the different databases you load it up into. Then we get the field name from parameter 1, get rid of any spaces, and convert it to uppercase. And if this parameter is blank, then we're just going to show a message, no state field specified for validation in parameter 1, and return continue. If the view object is none, then we get the state value from the view object using parameter 1, the state field name, as a parameter. So we get the value of that particular field. Otherwise, if the view object is not none, because we've come from the view put, then we set the state field equal to the value of the put into the state field. Again, we check if our view is not none, because we've been triggered from the put. If the field that's changing is not the state field, then return continue. And since we've got here, we know that we're validating the state field. So if the state field is not blank, then clear our view, our VI state view, put the value into the code state field, which is the key field, and read the record. If there is no record, show a message showing that this is not a valid state and return 1, which is an error. Otherwise, return continue. And now we can go and attach our new script to the AR24 view. But we already have this validate script. So we can either make this one inactive, or if we want, we can delete it and insert our new script. So this time we're selecting the validate state codes script, and again setting parameter 1 to the state field on the customer that we want to validate. And had we not already previously saved a script around accounts receivable, the roto.dat would be amended, the roto_arvi.dat would be amended and copied to the shared data directory. And if we go ahead and test that now, ABC is not a valid state, New South Wales is. We have just seen when we create a custom table, the view ID is assigned and updated in roto.dat. The roto.dat is updated in the VIXXA programs directory and copied to the shared data VIXXA directory. The table is added to the company database and an entry is made in Sage's DataDict for crystal reporting and the Sage report object. And when you amend the table, the existing records are exported, the table is amended, and then the existing records are re-imported automatically for you. and the entry in Sage as DataDict is updated. And then when we use our custom table in a script, because the view ID is dynamically assigned when the view is created on the site, depending on what other views have been created and the order in which they were created, so you use the full table name in your code. In exercise 3, we're going to add a finder to the state custom table on the AR customer screen. And for this, we're going to write an OCX script for the AR customer screen. So this script will be dynamically loaded each time the AR customer screen is opened. The view script that we have written to date will always work when the AR view is opened, or when a state is imported, or when CRM creates a customer or updates a customer, or any external application that updates through the views. But in addition to aid data entry, we want to add a finder to this table if people are using the AR1300 screen to do their data entry. For scripts to be associated with the screen, you need to have the Roto ID, AR1300 in the case of AR customers, in the name of the script and on the first line of the script. In our extender scripts, we're going to upload a script which has AR1300 in the script name as well as our module name, because we want to associate this with our module. And so we're going to go ahead and upload this script. And opening up the ORCID state valid, which is the module name, AR1300, which is the Roto ID, and then the name of the script, customer state validation.py, we see the first line of the script is hash space AR1300. And if you have a valid Roto ID in positions 3 to 8 of your script, and the same Roto ID is in the name of the script, this is what triggers Extender to apply this script dynamically to the Roto ID when it opens in Sage 300. So every time we open the AR customer screen, it's going to open the script. And then we import the ACPAC library, so we get all our view functions and our screen functions. In the main, we define the UI, the class MyUI, and initialize the class, and declare a variable to access the Roto ID of our extender custom table, and set the variable to read the extender custom tables header table so we can read the name and the associated view ID of our custom table. And then we're going to run the create screen function. In the create screen function, we're first going to find the control information of our current form and find out where the customer code state field is and where the control is for the tabs. And then we're going to show the screen. And in our on control info, first thing we do is set ourselves a variable to the data source for the AR customer and define a function to call after getting a record into the data source. And then we set a function for when they click on the tab, get information on the tab so we know how to put a field on the form, and set another variable to the AR customer state field. And then we're going to add a new field, which we're going to put on top of the state field and enable the finder on that new field. So we add a new field, make its type edit of type string, give it a caption of state province, and then draw the dimensions of that field to make it sit over on top of the state field, and enable the finder. And then on change of our field, we're going to run the onChange function, and on click, we're going to run the onClick function. and show our field. In the on-click of our new field, if the type is for, that's a Finder object, then we're going to associate the view with the Finder based on calling our function getCustomerViewID, passing in the name of the state table, define which field we want returned from the Finder, what to do if the Finder, if they select a value on the Finder, and what to do if they cancel on the Finder, and then show the Finder. If they do select a value and click OK on the Finder, we're going to save that value into the code state field and fill our field value as well. And then we're going to disable the Finder so it doesn't show twice. If they cancel on the Finder, we're going to set the cancel button on the Finder. So on after getting the data source record, if the event is fetch or go or read or open, it means it's retrieved a customer record, and we're going to set our state field equal to the value in the customer data source. When they click on the tab, if they've clicked on the first tab, then we want to fill our new state field with the value that's sitting in the data source and show it. Otherwise, if it's not the first tab, then we want to hide our new field. When they change a value in our state field, we want to set the new value into our customer state field. If this returns an error, then we set it back to the old value. Otherwise, we set our new value equal to the data source value. And this function gets the underlying value that's in the data source, and it displays this value into our custom field edit control. And this last function, we pass in the table name, and it opens the extended table for the custom table headers, and then filters by the table name to retrieve the view ID, and returns the view ID. After first attaching a script to an OCX, you need to reopen the desktop in order for Extender to recognize the script. And next time we open the AR1300 OCX, the script will be applied, and you can see we have the new Finder on our state and province field. And the validation for the invalid state is still happening at a view level. We've seen how to add a Finder to our new custom table onto the AR customer screen. OCX scripts need the OCX roto ID in the name of the script and on the first row of the script in positions 3 to 8. And you can use all the controls in the acpac.py library. For your custom table, you access your custom table via the view name, as you cannot be assured of what the view ID will be ahead of time. But Finders need the view ID, so you use getCustomerViewID to get the view ID from the view name for Finders. The next exercise we're going to look at is the state validation module. So we're going to go ahead and create the module. Well, we've actually created the module already. And we've seen how to associate the module name with the table name and how to associate the module name with your scripts. And these can be view scripts and or OCX scripts. And we're also going to have a look at the other objects that can be associated with your modules. And that could be events, for example, logging or sending an email. It could be your email template or your Information Manager note template if you're creating notes in your module. and we'll see how you can deploy a module. To create a module or delete a module, you work on the module screen. You insert a row into the module screen, and the important column is the module ID. And then you use this module ID in all the objects that are to be associated with the module. And that can be tables, scripts, view scripts and OCX scripts, events, email message IDs, note message IDs. And we've seen how to associate your module ID with scripts. You include the module ID in the name. And we've seen how to associate your module ID with your tables. And you include the module ID in the name. And the same goes for your events. You would create your events, for example, if you needed a logging event as part of this module. And in your message templates, both for emails and for creating notes, as long as you include the module ID in the name, then this message template will be seen as part of the module. To export a module, you click Export, and it will create a VI file, AR Customer State Validation. It's defaulting the name. And then if you were to open a new company database, you could import that module, and all the components will be imported in one click. So if I go to SAM Inc., activate Extender, you can see the AR subclass view has been added, although I have not yet imported anything into this database, so it's picked that up from the common Roto AR VI file. And if I go to Extender and import that module, you can see it has created the table, imported the two scripts, and attached the script to AR24. And when I run my AR customer, because I haven't restarted the desktop, we do not see the Finder at this stage. And if I reopen my company database and run my AR customer screen, I see that I have my Finder to the state and province to our new custom table, although there are no records, and the state validation is working from the view script. And you can use the custom table screens to import records into your custom tables. First, you select your table, and then import records or export records, and select the format and file required. We have seen how to create a module ID and then associate that module ID with your tables, with your scripts, and when you attach your scripts to views or associate scripts to screens. If it's got the same module ID in, then it's considered part of that module. When you create your events with the module ID and create email templates and note templates with the same module ID, then if you do all that, you can just export the module at a single click and import the module at a single click. So it enables deployment between test environments and production environments, but also between companies in your production environment. Thank you for watching this Extender Developer 101 training video. For more information and other videos on Extender, please go to our website, orchid.systems, and navigate to the Extender page, and you'll find other information, brochures, sales videos, training videos on Extender.